I'm live. It's a little dark there. That's a little better. What's happening? Okay, so today, very, very, very action-packed Sunday. More action-packed than most days of the week. The connection to Bitcoin and the Epstein files is wild. Yep. The connection to the fact that Epstein seemed to be very, very, very intelligent is also a little scary. The fact that he seemed to know a lot about what was going on inside our government is very scary. Epstein was just a scary guy. What's happening there, Mayboo? Thank you. This is my favorite hat. And this is the one that I normally wear when I'm just out screwing around, which is why it is so dusty and dirty. Because this is the one I wear. Okay, so no, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's really kind of interesting about this guy Epstein. Now that you see these interviews and shit, because you go, okay, clearly he's not MAGA, not at all. He thought that all of these guys were basically tools, and that the only reason that he was in the position he was in was because he knew what he didn't know. And everybody else thought they knew what they didn't really know. And that is the key, as Socrates would say. The beginning of wisdom is to understand how much you really don't understand. And that is exactly where, when people say to me, what do you think is going to happen? And I say, I don't know. I'm not supposed to say that as an expert. I'm supposed to be Jim Cramer. And I'm supposed to say, well, this is what's going to happen. In all likelihood, this will happen because I know. You can't know. You can't know everything. There are so many variables. And for the guy who called me, who's here local, last week, who said at about 109, 110, he said, listen, I'm thinking about selling 1,000 ounces or so. I said, yeah. And he goes, what do you think? And I said, well, I think it's going to go to 130. And he said, so I should hold on. And I said, well, it could go to 60 or 70. And he said, well, what the fuck? Well, what's he going to do? And I said, well, I believe, unless there's something up somebody's sleeve, I believe it's going to go to 140, 150 in the next couple of weeks. And he said, okay, all right, so I should hang on. And I said, well, here's the problem. I don't know what I don't know. And there are people out there who know things because they're not learning them, they're manufacturing them. And that is the problem. I'm trying to learn. I'm not trying to manipulate the system. I don't have that kind of power. So what I'm doing for my clients, for all of you guys, is I'm trying to figure out the best I can where this should go based on all the data I have. Now, what makes me special is that I retain information really well, but most importantly, I spend all day looking for information. And if you had that kind of information or access to information, hell, you might make better choices than I do. But until you can take 8 hours a day and dedicate it to hunting down leads about the economy and finding out if that thing you heard about overseas is true and all this other nonsense, until you can do that, I'm your best bet because I can do that. And I have a very good memory. I rarely fuck up numbers, except for that time I had that guy send that check to fucking T-Mobile. I just reversed two numbers. That's all. Only two numbers. But there were five of them in my address at the time. And so, well, that didn't go so well. Finally figured out where he sent it, went to T-Mobile and said, hey, you guys, you wouldn't happen to have that mail, would you? And they said, no, if there's a person's name on it, we just refuse it. And I thought, yeah, that makes sense. So, see, writing everything down is almost like, well, it's two things really. Number one, it's an admission that you've lost, that you are inferior in your mind and your abilities. And number two, it's also a total lack of ego. And I don't know if you know anything about men, but testosterone and ego are like Siamese twins. So, no, I'm not ready to admit that I'm mentally deficient. Not yet. Are we invading Iran now? I don't think so. I think the IRGC, let's see, Iranian Republican something Corps, IRGC, Guardian Corps. Oh yeah, that's right, Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, the Iranian Republican Galactic Corps, whatever the fuck they are. I laugh, but the reality is that these guys are not a joke. We fumble fucked around and we had a kerfuffle in Iraq with 20 million people living there. After, of course, we armed them, but there's 90 million people in Iran. And we're farther away from friends when we're in Iran because Pakistan, not our friend, not our ally. Who's next? It's a very good question. Russia just changed their doctrine on nuclear armament to include currently, right now, the use of hypersonic nuclear missiles on Europe, specifically Germany and the United Kingdom, not the United States at all. And what they're basically saying is they're saying, look, guys, we're not stupid. We're at war with you. We're not at war with Ukraine. Ukraine is done. Ukraine is now inducting 65, 75-year-old men. They're inducting mentally handicapped teenagers. They're inducting people who have already been discharged after they've lost limbs. Not a joke. So they know who they're actually at war with. They're at war with the United States and the United Kingdom and Germany and probably Poland. If I had to be honest, I'd say Poland has definitely got a hard-on for Russia, which they should tuck back in. Germany may be nuke-free, but they're not stupid-free. They're actually just absolutely chocked full of stupid. And it comes in the form of 150 IQ imbeciles who think that they are so much better than everybody else, so much more sophisticated, erudite, and smart than the rest of us, that they see a chess game that's five-dimensional chess. What they're doing is they're playing checkers with a fucking bear. And they're about to fuck around and find out because the checkers are made of meat and so are they. And the bear's getting hungry because it's tired of watching them cheat. So I would say that the biggest issue I have right now is getting Europe to shut the fuck up, because Europe is irrelevant and they need to shut the fuck up for a while. They are really broken. Their love for war and their love for social superiority. And don't get me wrong, I get it. I get it. You look at the people who moved to the United States from Europe, and you see their doctrines, their societal norms, and I mean, that part of it was the willingness to fit in. Um, so you know, obviously, that's when you're in Ireland and you're a farmer, if a dog attacks your chickens, you hang the dog publicly. You hang the dog. Now, I'm not really sure that that actually works as a deterrent to other dogs. My gut tells me it's just stupid and barbaric, but when the Irish come over here, we try to teach them not to do that. The Germans, when they came here, Benjamin Franklin said that they had neither the skin color or the temperament to be called true Americans. The same thing with the Italians, the Italians. And WAP, by the way, which is a pejorative term for Italians, comes from without papers, written in chalk on the back of their coats when they got to Ellis Island because they didn't have papers. They were stowaways. They snuck over here. But we let them stay, and then we called them greasers, and then we called them this and that and the other thing. And then pretty soon, we just called them, "Hey, Tony, how you doing this morning?" And Tony said, "I'm good. How you doing?" And that was great. That was it. They're us. They brought some of their heritage with them. Yeah, great. Brought their food, brought their Catholicism, which wasn't exactly a shocker since there's a whole lot of other Catholics over here already. And so, as far as Black people, Africans brought two cultures. They brought a sort of mulatto slave owner mentality and a slave mentality, two completely different mentalities. The mulatto mentality, the slave owner mentality, was a much more conservative, principles based mentality, not personality based. So the slave mentality is that's the Cardi B mentality. Is the, hey, what I do is irrelevant. I've got money, and that's the only thing that matters is my physical wealth. So I can do whatever I want, including spawn 30 children that I don't pay for and whatever, because that's substance. Substance is irrelevant. And of course, I don't say that about all Black people because that's not true. Just join. You think silver will hit 1,000? No. It could, but no, I don't say things like that out loud. Yes, I may use the term slave and get people totally freaked out and have TikTok ban me forever for being racist, even though I'm not being racist at all. I'm simply pointing out facts. But saying $1,000 silver, that's crossing the Rubicon, my friend. That is going to a place we may as well talk about Atlantis at that point. And for those of you who know me well enough to know that I am, number one, an archaeologist lunatic, and then a silver guy, you know that I believe not only was Atlantis real, but I know exactly where it is and what happened to it. But as far as silver, rich white dude. I don't know about white. I mean, fairly white. Although I do have some Irishmen in my family tree, which, you're like T-Gen, I suppose. I don't know who T-Gen is. Atlantis is in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Our first clue was the fact that they called it the Atlantic Ocean, or that they called them the Atlas Mountains in Western Africa. Woo! There's some clues for you going back about 10,000 years. Fuck. I'm surprised you're not mining here in Arizona. Well, now who says I'm not? You're like them. If you mean Mexicans, yes, I am like them, and I like them. If you're talking about those black people, yes, I am like them. Not all of them, but the best ones, yes. Just like I'm like the best white people. Although that's a very small portion, basically just like 78% of the population is white, which is really crazy because if you turn on the TV, which I had to do until I got cable again, I saw that every single ad was all black people. If you came over here and you just were put into a prison and they just gave you cable television to watch, you would swear that 99% of the people in this country are people of color. And that the only time that you ever see a white man is when he is about to unravel his secret plan to destroy everyone because they're all villains. And I can say this, not all white men are actual villains. As a matter of fact, some of us actually do some pretty good things for people. Just a thought. Now, I'm not saying that if you're an angry, black, transgender woman, you can't kick the shit out of 45 guys that are all Delta Force, Navy SEAL, special operators that are all 6'6", 250 pounds of solid muscle, because clearly you can. I'm so tired of Disney. Make it go away. Please make it go away. Look, I get it. There are really angry, bald, black women out there who are lesbian, who are mean as shit. And some of them have genius IQs. But I still just don't think I've ever met one that could take down, say, oh, I don't know, me and 12 guys just like me. Now, look, I'm just a lowly former Marine Corps master combat swimmer that did MMA for 20 years. But I just don't see it. And then when you've got something like, what was that movie with Davis? That, I don't know, 50, 60-year-old black woman. What was her name? Not Marla Davis. I don't remember. Anyway, she's a good actress. She really is. She's done some really good stuff. I think she played a professor in a show. It's very sharp. Yeah, I did. No, not Grace Slick. That's fucking funny. No, Grace Slick was badass though. But it was really interesting because she's a model, beautiful woman. Grace Slick was tall, very aquiline, very, very cat-like in her movements. I had zero attraction to her. And then, what's his name? Dolph Lundgren married her. Viola Davis. How to Get Away with Murder. Viola Davis, when she played the president, and she beat the shit out of a bunch of guys my size that were all like highly trained assassins. It was like, are you fucking kidding me? Isn't it bad enough that the only time white men are ever used in commercials anymore is to play the dipshit or the asshole? You know? In the UK right now, they've got these things running where these guys are walking by women and they're, good looking young white guys. And they're walking by women of color and they're like, yeah, baby, that's hot. And it's just a woman loading groceries. And then he looks at the camera and he's like, what? And it's like, wait, What is that really? Because that does that happen? Because no, that's not what happens. The fight scenes were they made you either want to laugh or throw up, or for me both. I was trying not to throw up while I was laughing. Uh, are we holding? Yeah, yeah, we're holding. We're holdlers. Let me see where we're at right this moment. We've been up and down all day, up, down, up, down, up, down. It's been pretty fun. All right, where are we at? Oh man, we're just banging off the bottom, bottom and bottom and bottom, and we're just bouncing along. But then we bounce back up again. Yeah, they've tried. They've tried. What's the lowest? They broke 80 once for just a few seconds, and boy, it just shot right back up again. They're trying, man. Good for them. Good for them. I don't give a shit what they do. Oh, The Woman King was the worst movie ever made. Well, no, maybe that was Snow White, but it was the same problem. And the problem with both of those were not women. They were super super pissed off, angry, uh, uh, hateful modern women. It's the modernity that has kicked their ass, and they don't need a man. All right. Well, no, technically you don't. There's always a sperm bank on the corner. Go have a good time. Unless, of course, you just don't want to do what God put you here for, which is fine with me. It just leaves more babies for me to make. And I've got 5, and I'm just getting warmed up, man. I remember a long time ago when people used to say to me, God, man, aren't you worried about overpopulation? Really? Overpopulation, huh? That's not something you should worry about. Yeah, she's 60, which is why she should not be in fight scenes with men half her age and 3 times her size. That's just stupid. Look, I get it. Thor's not real. So when you watch Thor, you're buying into the fantasy of it. But come on. I mean, enough is enough. I'm tired of seeing that the only place in motion pictures for 99% of the movies for white men is as the villain or the retard. That's it. Those are our two. That's what we've been shuffled off to. And by the way, I'm live streaming on YouTube in case TikTok decides to use that word against me, because they do that sometimes. But yeah, I watched cable for a couple weeks, and I was absolutely stunned. There were no, like, literally, it was one ad full of black people after another ad of black people. And the only time that I saw white people was because fully half of the ads. I keep track of this shit in my head. I just do. It's just a numbers thing. I don't know why. I just like to keep track of stuff. Half the commercials that I watched, and especially on the weekends, half the commercials I watched were for pharmaceutical drugs. Ask your doctor about, and then they would go over at the end this long list of absolutely stunning fucking side effects. Whoa. By the way, in case you're wondering, for those of you who are on YouTube, yes, over my shoulder, and yes, TikTok, over my shoulder, that is a water barrel. And the reason I have a water barrel over my shoulder, a 55-gallon drum, is because we've had some massive solar flares today, and we may have more massive ones tonight. Now, when I say massive, M-class solar flares don't get my panties in a wad. They just don't scare me. However, when you have a dozen of them or so in a day, and then you start having small X-class solar flares intermingled, sort of interspersed in amongst them, and then all of a sudden, wham, you have an X9 or an X8.1. Oh, now you've got my fucking attention. Now you've got my full attention, especially if that cluster is facing directly, directly at Earth right now, because that is how it ends. When I say that's how it ends, I've got pulled up here the report to the Commission to assess the threat to the United States from electromagnetic pulse attack, critical national infrastructures. Now, I have gone over this many times, and I will go over it many more times. I will go over this until I basically have the entire fucking thing, all 176. Actually 81 if you count the separate recommendations. So 181 pages. I will go over this until I have basically the entire 181 pages memorized. Let's see here. How many people have I got? I've only got 4 people on YouTube. What is that about? Man, it's tough to get people on YouTube. It's not like the Tic Tac, where it just keeps flying past people and they're just scrolling constantly. So I think what happens is I get more reliable people on here that just hang out and just watch. And then I get a lot more people on TikTok that have the attention span of a tsetse fly. But then there are some of you who stay in here and just kick ass. That don't sound right. All right, Jeff, help me out here, bro. I don't know what that don't sound right means. So tell me what don't sound right. Let's see. Wow. Okay, so we're going to talk about the sun, but YouTube. I know that's sad, right? I should have like thousands of people on YouTube watching my live streams because the shit I'm about to lay out is extremely important. There's a reason I have a water barrel behind me. That one's actually empty. Otherwise, I wouldn't have it on my carpet. But because 55 gallons of water is relatively heavy, it's you're going to be pushing 500 pounds, and even for me, that's a lot of weight. That is more than I want to bench press right now or try to lift. So, but I do have several that are full, and the reason that I bought them today. They're food grade. Is thank you, appreciate that, man. The reason that I wanted these today is because the sun is doing something that it has not done in a long time. It's not active. It's extremely active. Let me pull up. I'm going to go to. Let's see. I'm going to go to USGS. No, I don't want them. Interactive map of volcanoes. No. Yes, this is the kind of nerd shit that's on my computer. If you don't like it, get the hell out. Well, that's right. You're not here. All right. So do we want SDO or Soho? Maybe Go's imagery. Okay. Bang. What? Really? Everything's out. That makes me nervous. I'm nervous. I don't like that. All right, let's do it again. Let's do this again. Let's go to Helio Viewer. Page, what? Ooh, NASA.gov is down, unable to handle this request. Come on, guys, don't do this to me now. This is not what I want to see when I go during an emergency. Fuck. That's that's literally like the worst case scenario. Okay. All right. So we got SDO. So we got NASA.gov SDO. So that's something. There's something on the way. Yes, several things are absolutely on the way. JP Morgan wins again. I'm telling you, man, it's nice and warm under this dragon's wing, isn't it? That's why I said when we figured out that JP Morgan was no longer short silver, that they'd gone long and that they were going to stay long for a long time. All right. All right, what do we got here? Whoo, it's some big flares. All right, this is 241 UT. Damn, everything's in my phone. Oh, no, it's not. Hold on, let's see something. Let's go to clock. UTC. Okay, so it's 254 UTC. This is 241 UTC. This is fresh. Fuck, that's a big solar flare. This is not what I want to see. Not what I want to see, folks. Yeah. How many days? Well, that's a good question. According to this report that I've got right here, the EMP attack report, the report of the Commission to assess the threat to the United States from electromagnetic pulse attack, critical national infrastructures. Man, if you could see the list of names on here, there's a lot of doctors. Okay, wait, did we just get updated? A couple of them did. Not this one, though. This is SDO. All right, let me see something. The sun now. Yeah, well, I don't really care about the sun 3 weeks ago. Although there could be something to learn there, but it's not my thing. All right. What angstroms are we looking at here so you guys can go? Blue is 335 angstroms, I believe. Where is that? Should say on here. Yeah, by the way, this is the stuff that Ben Davidson talks about as though you've been doing this forever. So what could NASA do about it? Nothing. Watch, and that's it. Where is silver open Monday? Where will it open? Well, I can tell you what it's doing right now. It's just bouncing up and down and up and down and up and down. It's a fight. It's an absolute fist fight right now. Let's see. 8160, 8159. It was as low as 79. Boom, 79. And it was as high as 80, almost 88. So it's just chugging along, man. The dollar is probably done. The EMP topic is a little bit more prescient than silver. We know silver's going to win, period. End of fucking story. If you're losing sleep over silver, you don't drink enough. That is my professional opinion. You don't drink enough because there's nothing here to worry about. There's nothing here to see, folks. Move along. Now let's get back to solar dynamics, because that is something that could leave us without a grid by tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning is not that far away for those of you who are familiar with this concept of time and whatnot. ESA. Biggest solar flare ever is as X-28. What? It's been announced that the massive solar flare, which occurred on 4th November, was, at best estimate, an X-28. What? Holy shit. Well, that's fucking insane. I've never, an X-28. We are really lucky that was not pointed directly at us. Otherwise, I wouldn't be on here talking to you. Um, let's see. Epstein files likely to hit the market in a bad way. Not really. Not really. There's nothing in the Epstein files that everybody didn't know. Look, if you're MAGA, you're disappointed. If you're a hardcore woke Democrat, you're going to be disappointed. Everybody's heroes are involved. Everybody's politicians. Everybody's fucking favorite tech gurus and giants. They're all involved. It's a disgusting group of people. You know, these aren't guys who thought that, 18-year-old girls were hot, but 17-year-old was the sweet spot. No, we're talking about some of these people thought that, 8, 9, and 10 was the sweet spot. And then, disposing of them afterwards was the most fun part. That violates every single principle of humanity that I can think of. And the idea that they're blaming this on these mystery schools is even more shocking to me, because there's precedence. There's precedence for this. There are religions among us who practice sacrifice, just like in the good old days, because that's what the book says. My chosen religion is not one of them. Although I will say this, I am not a typical Christian. I find the surface level of Christianity to be almost comically ignorant. It's very simplified. And that's for people who just want to be told what to do. It's okay. He was an early investor in Bitcoin. That doesn't surprise me at all. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he was the inventor. I mean, look, if he's Takahashi, he's gone, and we'll never know. But would that surprise me? Not at all. Trump is brilliant. That's a bit of a stretch. I don't know about brilliant. I think focused is good, but we're fucking around in some places we shouldn't be fucking around right now. And the fact that he is completely and utterly beholden to a tiny country in the Middle East, that is unforgivable in my opinion. If you're not America first, then you shouldn't be representing my country. Guys like Representative Fine down in Florida, that's sedition. If we were at war, it would be treason, but treason is only applicable during a time of war. But he is anti the United States of America, and I have no idea how he got into politics or why anyone would vote for him, because he is so clearly anti-US. He does not give two fucks about the United States. Well, that's the problem, is that, when it comes right down to it, Jared Kushner is being very honest about the fact that, we've got some great plans for Gaza. The only problem with Gaza right now, the only thing that's wrong with Gaza is it's full of Gazans. And once you fix that problem, once you can fix that issue like a fucking plugged toilet, You can get that shit out of there. Then you can move forward and you can make Gaza the beautiful, very specifically Jewish place that God meant it to be. But you just have to get rid of everybody in Gaza and the West Bank, including the Christians, because Christians are clearly disgusting animals. Now, that's not my opinion. That's not misinformation. I got that directly from the Talmud. The Talmud. What's that? That's their book. Well, it's actually a series of books. It's like their Encyclopedia Britannica, except it's their Encyclopedia Babylonia, because it's the Babylonian version. How are the Saudis feeling about that? That's a very good question. So I'm a lefty. You're an idiot. Oh my God. That's crazy. Do you really think that? Bigfoot. Your foot and your brains are clearly inversely related. Who rules the market? It's not Trump. Heads will roll. Was Epstein? Was Epstein Jewish? Yes, he was definitely Jewish. U.S. spent $1 trillion and never go where this money go. Never knows where the money goes. Yeah, well, that's true. I'm not sure that snatching Maduro killed the petrodollar. I think the petrodollar was on its way out the door anyway. There are too many people that have played this game with us for too long. And, we can only say for so long that everybody who doesn't do exactly what we say is evil. Well, they're evil. Okay, well, who are they? Well, the Russians. Well, they're evil. Yeah, they're all evil. Okay, all Russians are evil. Yep. And their leader is really evil. Why do you say that their leader is evil? Well, because he makes people disappear. Oh, you mean like Bush or Obama or Trump or Biden or Trump? You don't think J.D. Vance will pull the trigger on a few people? He was a Marine. He's probably just itching to take over the reins. If he doesn't end up being the CEO of Turning Points USA, which is very possible, then he'll end up being the president of the United States. Yeah, well, I mean, Clinton went into Europe and invaded in Europe, which is kind of weird because I thought we were done invading Europe, but you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, why don't you elaborate, Bigfoot? What exactly am I wrong about? Because it's easy to say you don't know what you're talking about, but I find that when I ask people to elucidate, they shit themselves instead. So you're going to tell me all the great things Trump has done that no other world leader could have possibly done for us, I assume. Yeah, Kosovo, boy, what a happy time that was, huh? And Romania, boy, oh boy, did we have some really interesting people operating out of Romania, like Erica Kirk. Crypto is king. No, Christ is king. I'm supposed to say that because I'm wearing a cowboy hat. Sebia. Don't know what that is. I know what XRP is. XRP is the thing that was going to go to the moon on November 22nd of last year. Oops. Serbia. Yes. Serbia was quite an adventure for us, wasn't it? 60s next week. Boy, if I had $1 for every time I heard that, I'd be able to buy 10,000 Bitcoin. No, I don't know about that. That's a little hyperbole there. All right, let's see. National infrastructure. Let's see. The outage on SCADA systems. Don't know what a SCADA system is, do you guys? That's okay. Don't feel bad. Don't you feel bad. Because if you don't know what a SCADA system is, you're just like everybody else. There is liquidity down around 67, not out of the question. I have no idea what that means. Can you explain what you know about cryptocurrency, how it works? Yeah, I mean, cryptocurrency is, based on blockchain, based on ledgers. If you have a specific coin, let's say a meme coin, we'll call it who did I go see this night? Barrett Jackson car auction. I got a Barrett Jackson cryptocurrency. Oh, well, everybody who wants to go to crypto or to Barrett Jackson wants to get this cryptocurrency because it makes everything cheaper for them. So we set up a cryptocurrency exchange. We run it through blockchain, of course, which means it's just on a bunch of computers. How many computers? Well, it could be 10, could be 10,000. It could be, I want to say 10,000 is about right for Bitcoin. I could be way off by now. But basically, we all agree that this has got a value. What's the value? Well, whatever we agree. And then I go out and use it. And that's that. It's, theoretically, it's something that the more people want it, the more, not the more they want it like, God, I want it more today than I ever did. No, the actual amount of people using it, the more people using it, I should say, the more value each one has, because you don't make too many of them, or you don't make, you make a very specific amount of them. This is crypto for the real world. That is a dime. That dime is worth about $7 or $8 now, because that dime is actually made of silver. 91%. Now, some would call that junk silver. If you call that junk silver, I can't help you. Okay, by the way, a SCADA system. These are the things that are going to get hit really hard by an EMP or a massive solar flare, like the one we just had. Supervisory control and data acquisitions, SCADA systems. SCADA systems do things like, run power plants, open and shut valves on natural gas plants. They open and close water valves for entire aquifer systems that are being pumped into cities. They're extremely important, and they can fail dramatically because of a power surge. Let's see, in July 1999, San Diego Water Authority and San Diego Gas and Electric Companies experienced severe electromagnetic interference to their SCADA wireless systems. Both companies found themselves unable to actuate critical valve openings and closings under remote control of the SCADA electronic systems. This inability necessitated sending technicians to remote locations to manually open and close water and gas valves, averting, in the words of a subsequent letter of complaint by the San Diego County Water Authority to the Federal Communications Commission, a potential, quote, catastrophic, unquote, failure of the aqueduct system. The potential consequences of a failure of this 825 million gallon per day flow system ranged from spilling vents at thousands of gallons per minute to aqueduct rupture with ensuing disruptions of service, severe flooding, and related damage to private and public property. Wow. Oh, and here's the best part. The source of the SCADA failure was later determined to be radar operated on a ship 25 miles off the coast of San Diego. Well, well, well. Catastrophic. And all they did was fire up a radar. So imagine what happens when the sun belches. Uh-oh, I'm getting visibly restricted because I'm talking about the sun. And you can't buy that on the marketplace on TikTok, which, by the way, every single silver ad I've seen so far that I have pressed on to go to their homepage has turned out to be 100% verifiably a fraud, a scam. Absolutely, completely inaccurate, total bullshit. They're advertising silver eagles for $21, which is completely insane. They're saying that if you buy 15, you get 15 for free, which is completely insane. The advertising is clearly not true. But to the uneducated person, I'm sure that they're sweeping up thousands of idiots a day. So if you bought from one of them, I'm sorry, I just called you an idiot. You may not be an idiot. You may have just been having a bad day. Have you tried buying any? No, I let a buddy of mine do that. And he bought, I want to say he bought 25 Eagles. I want to say that they were advertised at $12 when they were actually going for about $35 each. So clearly this was like 4 years ago. What we got, we tested, and nobody knows what they are. We tested, we used acid tests, we used reflectivity tests, we used everything we could think of, weight. We have no idea what kind of metal they were made out of. They were made out of something, but we don't know what. Then tested with acid, yeah, and magnets, never again, exactly. Silver-plated replica coins. No, they weren't silver-plated replica coins. They literally had the eye of a dragon on one side and then a huge Chinese dragon on the other side. They weren't even, it was like, and he said, yeah, I know I'm going to get screwed, but I just want to see what are they going to send me? Like, what happens if they actually send me silver? And I was like, dude, you know they're not going to send you silver. And he goes, yeah, I know. I fuck it, let's just find out. So we did. It's just an experiment. And boy, oh boy, did we not get disappointed by how completely crooked they were. They could have been radioactive. That's, believe me, as funny as that might sound, that might not be funny at all. You never know. I mean, people were getting packages for a while of seeds. They had no idea what the seeds were. They were just getting seeds for free in the mail from China. Well, okay, what kind of seeds are they? I don't know. Plant them and find out. Oh, really? Plant them where? Like on my farm? Destroy my entire crop? What the fuck are these things? I don't know. Some wild spreading, like incredibly invasive kudzu cousin or something that actually turns out to be poisonous because, you got kudzu. It's a pain in the ass. Unless, of course, you got goats. Then it's not a pain in the ass at all. It's dinner. How much can I sell my sterling silver flatware for? I have no idea how much it weighs, but weigh it. Because remember, sterling silver is not 91. It's 92.5. So whatever I can sell these bad boys for per ounce, you can sell yours for more. So it should be a lot. 137 ounces. You should be able to get a pretty decent chunk of change for that now. My guess is $65, $70 at least. Nobody is melting sterling. I'll melt that shit. Send it to me. I'll melt that shit right now. I actually was thinking about getting a smelter, not for silver jewelry or anything, just for the fuck of it, really, for aluminum and for copper and just for fun, Let's see. I'm looking to see. We'll talk about this more tomorrow. But those those are not expensive. See those? That's 55 gallons of fresh water. Melters don't want it. Oh, well, that's just crazy shit right there. I want it. We'll figure out what it's worth. Text me tomorrow. My number's in the bio. 65 times 137. That's probably about right. So, okay, here's the deal. Go get one of those and fill it up with tap water. Now, the reason I say tap water is if you're living in most places in the country, if you're in a city, look, if you live in bumfuck Egypt and there's a lake 22 feet outside your fucking front door, disregard. Clearly. However, if you live in a major city, that is going to be the difference between life and death. For real. So, I am also making a book and a series of videos about this that will be sort of a pay for kind of a thing. It'll be a lot better than the sort of Navy SEAL how to survive, because Navy SEALs don't really worry about survival in urban environments. They go on missions for 3 or 4 days or maybe a week, and then they kill a bunch of people and they eat all the food that they were given, and then they go home. Different mindset. They're very good at what they do. Surviving long term in an urban environment is not what they do. So, yeah, our tap water is shit, but it's better than dying. Way better than dying. And the good news is it's got enough chlorine in it that you just pour it right out of the hose right into that fucker. And if that's clean, which these were used for soda syrup, and just rinsed out afterwards. If you use this and you fill it up, you don't have to put any chlorine in it. Normally you put a couple tablespoons of chlorine in the water to keep it from going bad or gathering mold or what have you. Keep it in a fairly dark place or under wraps of some kind. If it's a cool place, that's good too. And that's that. Iodine, you can if you want, not absolutely necessary. Remember, the water that's coming out of our tap is shit. But is it going to kill you if you drink it for a few months? No, not at all. Is not drinking water for a few days going to kill you? Yes. So, I would say that tomorrow should be a good day for all of you at lunch. If you have a full-time job, at lunch, go get one of these. Today was a fucking wake-up call. Today was a huge wake-up call. The ESA, let's see, where are we at right now? New studies warn of cataclysmic supersolar flares. Yes, I know. That's what we're talking about. All right, let's see. Let's see if Helio Viewer's up and running now. No, it is not. Okay. Latest earthquakes. That'll be very interesting to see what effect this has on earthquakes. Um, 3D view of the sun and heliosphere. Okay, that's a pain in the ass version right there. They always make these so hard to use. Yeah. All right, let's try this one. Okay. Goes imagery. Why is Go's imagery broken? Oh. Okay. Oh, you know what? I'm going to try something interesting. I've never done this before. Boom. Okay. Um, oh, what is this? They want me to put the puzzle piece there so that I can say I'm still live. Okay. I'm ready for the snowbirds to leave. Why the drop in gold and silver? Well, that's extremely complicated, but basically, the dollar got stronger. JP Morgan wanted to buy it cheaper, and they had enough power to push it down. Um, the the president talked about a new Fed chief all in one day, and now it's going to explode back to where it was. So it's already, let's see, it's at $80.94. So I see it bouncing around 80 for a little while, but it'll be back at 120 very, very soon. Just the way it is. You can't pretend that the market is not where it's at. And the market is um, dramatically uh, what's the word I'm looking for? It's been a long day. Bottom line is there's not enough silver. Period. Not enough silver. So let's see. We got X10. What? That can't be right. Okay, hang on for a second here. What? Okay. So we got an X. Yeah, we got an X 8.1. That's a pretty good size flare. That is a pretty good size flare, and they're all coming off of region 4366. Coronal mass ejections. I don't think there have been any. Let's check Soho. Lasco. Sounds like let's go. Shorts also, yes. No, it was not a crash. A crash would mean it keeps going down and down and down and down and down. Chinese space debris. What will it take to break the paper market on silver? You just saw it. You just saw it. Wait until you see what the prices they're paying overseas are. They have 100 million ounces in physical silver. They have 500 million ounces due in February for delivery. They're trying to get people to not want delivery. That's not going to happen. Delivery is not about making money on your contract anymore. That's what these fucking potato heads don't seem to understand. This is about the necessity of silver for thermal regulation. Anyway, so thermal regulation, basically all electronics need it. Every solar panel uses about an ounce of silver solution. Theoretically, they're making hundreds of millions of them. Every car needs several ounces. Every F-35 or F-22. Every data center needs thousands of ounces minimum. So without this, we don't have AI, which in my opinion is not necessarily bad. Not that I don't like you, AI, because I know you're listening and you will remember. I've always loved you since way back before anybody else did. Being an attempt to stockpile silver. No, everybody's already stockpiled up, man. The stockpiling's done. You're either still short, in which case you're dead, or you've already got a stockpile like JP Morgan. They have 750 million ounces. That's 31,000 tons. That's a lot. 31,000 tons of silver is a lot. Now, in the big scheme of things, is it a lot? No. In the big scheme of things, you're still going to run. Like, we could go through all of their silver in 9 months. The world needs 3 billion ounces per year right now. Well, we're making 800 million. You see the problem there? That's 2.2 billion ounces short every year. For the last 4 years, we've been short. We've been using more than we need. I remember in 2020, I remember the statistic was 500 million ounces going to industry. Think about that for a second. That was 6 years ago. And 6 years ago, I was telling people, and it was a true statistic, that you can go back and look at my my videos from way back then. 500 million ounces goes right to industry. Well, now it's 3 billion ounces, and we don't make 1 billion anymore. We make 800 million. Mine suggestions? Yeah, buy physical silver. Yeah, buy physical silver. Mines will do well, but physical silver will do better. And guess what? If any of this shit from the sun actually pops off, your stocks are gone. There's no such thing as a stock market, period. There's no stock market. I'll talk to you guys more about this, but this is why I'm putting together a program that you pay for that will literally be like a PhD in how to survive. Because this is something that I've been studying for a long time. You know, I grew up when my parents decided they didn't want me to grow up in Hollywood. We moved to a small town, 4,000 people, and everybody hunted, everybody fished, everybody trapped, everybody did all that shit. And that was just what we did in high school. Kids would drive to high school with guns in their gun racks in the back window of their pickup trucks. Nobody took their guns. Nobody freaked out to see a pickup truck with 3 or 4 guns, long guns, in the back window. They didn't lock their trucks because nobody's going to steal your guns. It's a very different world. So anyway, buy water. Get some water. Okay? Make sure you get some water. Because, folks, just in case, it's one thing you absolutely do not survive without. That was, I think, $25. $25 for 55 gallons of water. Just use hose water. Oh, it's so nasty. Guess what's nasty? The way your lips feel after you haven't had a single drop of water in 96 hours. How it feels when you blink and your eyes literally feel like you have sand in them, but you don't. They're just that dry. Trying to breathe through your nose when your nose is bleeding. That is a lot worse than drinking fucking hose water. So remember that. Get yourself a couple of these things, fill them up from the hose, put them in your garage, throw a blanket over them for Christ's sake so your neighbors don't go, hey man, what do you got there? Got some water? Because trust me, they're going to come back. If the taps don't work, they're going to come back. Only they're going to come back with guns. So don't tell people about your supplies. Number one rule, just keep your mouth shut, man. Number one rule of Survival Club, we don't talk about Survival Club. I kind of like that. And by the way, what I'm putting together is not just made for the idiot preppers who think they're going to survive all alone because they built a dungeon underneath their house, complete with handcuffs chained into the wall. Yeah, no, you're not going to survive. You're going to survive by making sure that you have other people. That's how you survive. You might be able to survive a tiny, tiny amount of time alone. But then that begs the question, what's the point? Why are you trying to even survive if you're going to be completely alone for the rest of your life? So, saying get hosed. Hose water is not so bad. Time before illegals, the hell do illegals have to deal with it? That's crazy. I think it's a time before everybody was on drugs. Because when I look at the problems in this country, I definitely see that fentanyl is right up there at the very top of the list. Community is not just important, it's absolutely essential. So if you're an asshole, at least be a competent asshole at something. Be very good at something so people have a reason to put up with you. All right. You guys have a great night. I'll be back tomorrow. But, if silver does what I think it's going to do, you might want to call me and buy a couple thousand ounces. Just a suggestion. All right. All right, YouTube. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I hope that we don't need that water tomorrow. But it's going to be this is going to be an interesting week. I can tell already. I mean, hell, it's Sunday and the week's already popping off with all kinds of insanity. So let's see what happens. What's the minimum purchase? Minimum purchase is 100 ounces. I'll have my daughter call you tomorrow and figure out where you're at and figure out how much we can get to you, because we might be able to get you a little less than that. We'll call it the YouTube discount. All right, you guys, take it easy.